just a blessing to keep this legacy going. That's another reason I came to LSU, was just uphold tradition for the people who came before me and people coming after me.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's really good. You've written out late. What would you say about yourself?
I say I just played the game with maturation. Play the game. Play it smartly. Play it confidently.
It wasn't really a situation
at a high level.
What was into the corner?
I think that's one of my greatest attributes. I think I'm very scheme versatile. You can fit me in any scheme, and I excel at it.
I agree with everything. Yeah, no. Yeah,
for sure. Just playing for the state of Louisiana, it's a blessing. When I came to LSU, I had to kind of get used to the culture, but I quickly learned that football meant everything down there, and it was just a blessing to be a part of.
What aspect of your
I say my physicality. I like to show up in the run game. As a corner, sometimes that goes unnoticed, but I take that personal. Being physical in the run game.
What do people want to know about you? What do people want to know about you?
Short consistency. That was the biggest thing for me. I always had the talent, but it was just being able to put it all together at once. When I came to LSU, just taking one play at a time. Next play mentality. I'm being locked in every snap. Coach Tyrone, Coach Schmidt, love those guys. Coach Schmidt just went to the University of Maryland. So really just a college-like system, just at a young level. So when I came to college, it wasn't too big for me. It's nothing I haven't seen before.
How is going the next generation put together you guys?
You said what?
How is going through the season? How top teams to play?
Sure, the DMV has a lot of unheaded talent that people don't know. Sometimes we don't get the respect California, Texas, Florida may get because we're a smaller state, but I think there's a lot of talent in such a small state.
So how do you see your talent translating to the NFL?
That's to be determined, but I'm excited, man. I'm confident in my ability. I'm a guy who I think soaks up, knowledge. I'm just ready to be a sponge to all those guys in the NFL and just learn as much as I can.
Have you met with the Buccaneers?
Yeah, for sure.
One of the best corner in the class. You cut the film on. Speaks for itself. You said the Saints defense? Just really being able to fit into any scheme. I think, whether it's a man zone, he played with nickel, safety corner. I think I'm a person who can do it all, whether that's any team.
Have you met with the Buccaneers at all? You met with the Tampa Bay?
Not yet. I had a formal with them. That's about it. And then just looking forward to keep talking to them.
Big impact the year that I played. I just feel like I was ready.
Shoot, off the field, on the field, I say just standard. That's the biggest thing Coach Raymond talked about, the standard at LSU. So once you kind of set a standard, uphold it, and I took that personally.
I was trying to get back and play this season.
Are there any corners in the league?
Top 5 corners in the game, no order.
I watch a lot of Stingley and Ramsey.
Quinyon Mitchell, I say Pat Surtain, Derek Stingley, Devin Witherspoon,
Corner or more of his own corner?
I say I'm
JC
pretty
Horn.
versatile, so I say
Yeah, that was my guy. He recruited me at Virginia Tech, but before I got there, he wasn't able to stay. Maybe.
I feel like as far as speed, like at the line of scrimmage and press, I feel like he can kind of shut that down, being aggressive. A good route runner.
I think his press technique. I'm a studier of the game, especially the NFL. I think he's a very cerebral guy. I think that he lurks well in cover 3. Just in his ability to mirror receivers.
Yeah, I got cleared. I was doing everything, practicing, everything. I just didn't feel ready yet.
In where? What team? Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I'm gonna have a great pro day. So when they all come out there and see what I'm
sure. I don't want to be a sponge. I just want to learn from guys like that, man. I think that's the biggest thing for me. I like to surround myself with high caliber talent that I just soak up, and I try to bring and add new things to my game. So I love to be a part of something with people with high caliber players.
Yeah, I've been fine. Yeah. That was a good meeting too.
For sure. Just they asking me, am I willing to play inside? Willing to play outside, and I just tell them I'm willing to do whatever helps the team. It's a lot of room, a lot of grass. You have to kind of know where your help is. Know if you're blitzing, you kind of more run fits.
I think the most underrated part of my game would probably be maybe I don't know. To be honest, I met with the Cowboys. That was a good meeting too.
For sure, it takes a village. It's not just me. At the end of the day, I think the biggest thing for me was being intentful. With my process, the way I went about everything, as far as my routine, my eating habits. Connecting with some of the LSU guys. Asking them, former LSU guys, asking them how, they are as great as they are at what they do to add to my game, and ultimately, doing these daily things, daily routines to become habits.
Mansoor, you talked about, former LSU legends.
I just say my ability to make plays.
Guarding a guy like Jamar Chase, and have you met with the Bengals?
I have met with the Bengals. I would love to do that. Going against, guys like that in practice, that makes me a better person. I ultimately feel like, this year in practice was my hardest competition sometimes, so when I went on the game days, it was easy.
You can handle everything.
Yeah, I feel like that's the
What's the
biggest
bigger
stage you play,
concern in the big picture, speed or route nuance?
I say neither.
Have you met with the Dolphins at all? And if so, any impressions from that conversation?
Today.
Okay, any impressions?
I have of the Dolphins, for sure. Coach Hafley. He's a guy who recruited me too at Boston College, so very familiar with him, and I'm excited to meet him today.
Any interaction with the Giants yet?
Yes, from with them yesterday.
How'd that go?
It went well. Seeing Coach Harbaugh, I'm from Maryland, so I'm a Ravens guy. So I just told him personally that it's just a surreal moment to be able in the same room with him. And it was great.
I did a lot of
You mentioned that guys
For sure. I just think that at the end of the day, everybody's path is different. People, aspire to do different things. So, if your goal is to, go outside of the state and that's what you feel like your mission is, I think, you should chase that dream. If you want to stay home, stay home.
Have you met with the Lions yet? Formal, informal? Who'd you be with?
The Lions, yes, sir. I met with Coach Shep, obviously, former LSU guy. It was a great meeting. Got me on the board.
Break down any defensive film or anything?
For sure. Definitely broke down my defense. Talked a lot of ball. It was a great meeting.
A lot of guys didn't know.
So I just told them, kind of the guys, you get in that room at LSU, some real good guys, some genuine coaches, some people that are going to do exactly what they tell you they're going to do. So it's up to you now to go out there and handle your side of the business. And, you have all the opportunity in the world there.
What do you think could be ahead for your brother?
It's his path. I don't want him to follow in my footsteps, but again, one thing about LSU is, you have the exposure, you have the brand, and it's just up to you to go out there and play the game.
Expand on that?
For sure. If I had the choice, I'd play middle linebacker in college. I just love, physicality. I love, tackling. I love being in the box. So being able to just kind of bring those attributes over to safety, and being a corner, it just makes it easy. A lot of corners might be scared to tackle, but I love that.
What do you do for your mental health off the field, not being able to play during the
I don't really do too much. I kind of have a good headspace.
For sure. At my position right now, I always take pride in, I'm gonna bring the fight to you. The receiver lines up, and you're gonna do what I want you to do, rather you dictate in my game. So, I kind of take that in aspect to everything. If I play nickel, play safety, I play it to my strengths, and then play it to your weaknesses.
Spencer, are you an offense guy?
I want to take the ball away more. That's a big area of improvement for me. I want to be a game changer. Team's going to keep throwing at you if you keep getting PBUs, rather if you just take the ball away.
Down days, so just trying to keep the same.
Pittsburgh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. First day.
You mentioned practice being very difficult this year. Obviously, you have 4 receivers down here. Can you break down and let us know which one's fastest?
Yeah, that's one thing about those guys. You know,
Yeah,
they're
so I mean,
fast. You know, they quick, they're explosive. You know, maybe some of them didn't have the year they wanted to, but you know, I know all the capabilities that they had. So I saw that every day in practice, and it ultimately made me better for the game.
Mansoor,
Who's fast?
Who's the fastest? They all fast. They all fast. I promise you. You're gonna see when they run Saturday. You'll see.
Mansoor, are you going to work out this week or are you going to work out tomorrow?
I don't plan to. I plan to do everything mostly.
On your pro day? Could you say your name for everybody, please? Because everybody says Mansoor, and I know it's Mansoor. But
It's okay. Yeah, it's Mansoor. You know, it's pronounced, it's spelled with an A, so I don't blame too many people. But it's almost like an O, so Mansoor.
thank you.
I mean, just patience. You just gotta kind of read the release off the line. Just be patient with it.
Being in that facility, what does LSU do there to
Say it again.
For sure, I think like we call it a standard. It's a standard that's upheld, and I think one thing we kind of believe in is like we don't believe in just being bust. Like we believe in upholding who you are as a person going into that league, and just continuing to adhere to that standard. So it's not make it to the NFL and you get complacent. It's wanting to conquer a whole other level of the game, and I think that's what makes LSU players great. Is we want to dominate at the next level as well. The Ravens, the Commanders. It was great, just talking to, the coaches there. I just felt like a home environment, being from that area, it was great meeting.
Both had good seasons, so it's just a bunch for us to feed off of each other and get better on standing.
No.
Nah, we ain't had no season.
Have you met with the Giants?
Yes.
How'd that go?
It was good. Like I said, I talked to Coach Harbaugh. Like I said, personally, I've always looked growing up as a Raiders fan. So just being in the same room with him was a surreal moment.
Why the Ravens?
Yeah, I just think at the time, that was the Ray Lewis days. Joe Flacco. Ed Reed. I'm just a defensive guy, so that was just type of defense and type of football team I like. This year, I would say probably Casey Concepcion. I respect his game. Not just because of what we went through, but I think he changed the game in the special teams aspect, and I respect that.
All right, thanks, Mansoor.